Hey friends, my name is Steve Guttenberg, and I am the Audiophiliac, and I'm in a mood today, so I am going to tackle a difficult subject, and that is audiophile recordings. What the hell is an audiophile recording, and why would anybody care? Okay, that's a fair question, actually. So let's start with some kind of definition. First, and these are my opinions, and everybody can have theirs, what an audiophile recording is. So anyway, to begin, an audiophile recording is one where the engineers, the producers, and possibly even the band are trying to make a recording that sounds like the band actually did when they made the record. Now that's a big statement right there, because you might think that everybody makes records that way, but the answer is no, they don't. Because most records that are in audiophile recordings, especially in the 21st century, they're Pro Tooled and AutoTuned and tweaked and put together and massaged and taken apart. There's a lot of work that's done in the after the band has gone home part of making records for non-audiophile recordings. Non-audiophile recordings are basically taking a picture, so to speak, an oral picture of the band playing. Band, singers, the whole schmear is all happening live in real time. They're not overdubbing vocals, they're not overdubbing guitar parts. What you heard is what you get, or what they heard is what you get with an audiophile recording. So they're live, and they tend to be, not exclusively, but minimally mic'd. So here's a few. So this is an MA recording. Todd Garfinkel is the engineer and producer for all of their records. He uses two spaced Omni microphones for all of his recordings. Here is a Water Lily recording. The guy in charge of this one, his name is Cavi Alexander, and he also, I don't remember his microphones, but again, I don't think there's more than two. It may be one stereo mic. This next one is reference recording, and again, I don't know the numbers of microphones, but these are very minimally made and also always live. And Keith Johnson is the engineer and I guess the producer of these records. And last but certainly not least is a Chesky record, and David Chesky and Nicholas Prout are the Chesky produces. Nicholas Prout is the engineer of these, and this latest generation are done with a binaural head that has two microphones, one in each ear of this plastic head. But before Chesky made recordings with the binaural head, there was a sound field mic, which is a mic that has 4 capsules in it, so it's actually a more than stereo mic. And before that, it was an AKG C24. It's also a stereo mic. So minimally mic'd recordings are part of the whole thing. Instead of close miking every instrument, which is the way it's done for all, let's say, non-audiophile recordings where the drums are mic'd, and there might be 8 mics on the drums. There might be 14 mics on just a drum kit. You know, there's many mics, many tracks in a typical non-audiophile recording, but most audiophile recordings are 2-track stereo, so there's no chance of changing the balances after the recording is done. Those are pretty massive differences. Oh, and by the way, audiophile recordings, I can't say every single one, but they tend not to be dynamically compressed. That is, the soft to loud sounds are left intact. Unlikely that happens on a regular commercial recording, where they take the soft sounds, bring them up, and take the really loud sounds and bring them down, so the average level is more even. That's called compression. And they also limit the peaks. They do all sorts of things. And of course, they EQ the hell out of those recordings, those non-audiophile recordings. And EQ is used either it is not done in audiophile recordings or is used sparingly. It depends on the recording. But the difference in processing between an audiophile recording and a non-audiophile recording is vast. So you're more likely to hear, let's just say how good or accurate or natural your system is when you use an audiophile recording. Now, if you used a non-audiophile, if you listen to Amy Winehouse, her voice has been processed and squished and EQ'd and compressed in all sorts of ways. So you may like the sound, and apparently a lot of people do, but could you use it to judge the naturalness of a speaker? No, you can't, or you shouldn't, in my opinion. Anyway, that's it. The difference between audiophile and everybody else is vast. Now, some people could say, and it's, you know, you can say anything you want to say, that let's say Dark Side of the Moon is an audiophile recording. I would say a lot of audiophiles like that recording and may use it as some sort of reference to evaluate gear, perfectly valid, or Steely Dan, or records like that that have some sort of mass acceptance in the audiophile world. Sure, that works too. But they are not, by at least my definition, audiophile recordings. They are in a different category. They are recordings that many audiophiles, not me, but many audiophiles have agreed are really good sounding recordings. That's, yeah, cool, sure. Anyway, this is the Audiophiliac Daily Show. Comes up daily, as you might have figured out by now, and I urge you to share them and like them and do that social media stuff. And by the way, there's over or nearly 300 of these videos in my channel there. So if you're bored one day and you're waiting for something, and watch a bunch. Binge. You could they're usually 5 minutes or less. You could binge and watch 6 of them in a half an hour. So it's not like watching, you know, hour-long series. You get the point. I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.